As more states report cases of a severe intestinal disease, federal health officials say they remain focused on lettuce from Taylor Farms as a potential common source of one of the larger outbreaks.
You have to recognize that this is related to iceberg lettuce coming from a specific farm in Mexico, based on the evidence that we have.
It comes after the FDA announced a lab test that detected the parasite Cyclospora in an iceberg lettuce sample was actually a false positive. The sample was not part of the company's voluntary recall, which remains in place. Taylor Farms says it will continue to work with public health officials.
Epidemiologic tracing comes from a number of different sources, not just the laboratory definition, and that is why the recall is still in effect.
So far, the CDC has confirmed more than 1,600 infections linked to this outbreak. The majority have been detected in Michigan. The agency says the numbers could be higher because many patients recover from the illness without medical care.
It's recommended to test the patient 3 times. In that initial test that you might have had, it might not have had the parasite in that stool sample.
As the investigation continues, some restaurant owners say they're making major changes to their menus.
We pretty much just took the alert as serious as it's a nut allergy or anything else, and we just omitted it from the menu.
The FDA says it will continue testing lettuce samples as well as produce at the southern border. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
U.S. forces carried out their latest wave of strikes on Iran Monday night, while President Trump considers a greater military response. Iran says it's already fighting a full-scale war with the U.S. and striking American military assets in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan. After 3 U.S. soldiers were killed last week, President Trump had this warning. Every time Iran kills an American soldier, they will pay for that killing many times over.
As long as the Iranians are going to keep going after U.S. bases and U.S. personnel in the region, I have no doubt the president's going to hit them, and he's going to hit them hard.
So far, U.S. forces have avoided striking Tehran or nuclear sites, but that could change if the president gives the go-ahead. Some military experts, though, say it's time the U.S. changes its strategy and takes over Iran's oil hubs.
Airstrikes alone are not going to win this war. You're going to need ground troops to do something. That doesn't mean they go all the way to Tehran. I'm not advocating that at all. But you can take a couple key strategic targets.
Deploying ground troops would certainly lead to greater concerns on Capitol Hill, where support for the war is still mostly split along party lines.
I think President Trump showed great restraint with the ceasefire, and now he's doing what he has to do.
Trump needs to stop this catastrophe and bring our troops home.
Now that diplomatic efforts appear to have failed, the Trump administration is reportedly once again considering plans for regime change and encouraging an uprising among Iranian citizens. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
The tariff war is heating up once again. President Trump announcing new 50% tariffs on nearly all goods coming from Canada, including food, alcohol, and construction materials. The president says he wants to hold Canada accountable for retaliating against his earlier tariffs. But the Canadian government says it had the right to retaliate under the terms of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement.
33% of the lumber comes from Canada to build their homes. And he's wondering why the housing cost of building is going up, because he's putting tariffs on his #1 trading partner.
The new tariffs came just a day after President Trump threatened new trade taxes because of the massive amount of smoke pouring into the U.S. from the Canadian wildfires.
We can help them, we'll help them, but maybe they should pay us some damages or something, or we should do some tariffs.
Democrats claim the tariffs will only add fuel to the affordability crisis, and they'll make it a major issue in the upcoming midterm elections.
The fact that he continues to go down this road is just going to make it easier for Democrats across the country.
But some experts say the trade disputes also offer a rare opportunity to achieve an equilibrium, with businesses enjoying access to markets on both sides of the border.
At the end of the day, what you want is more free but also fair trade. In other words, again, a level playing field, no tariffs or non-tariff barriers on anybody. That's the long-term goal.
The Treasury Department says the new tariffs will take effect in 30 days. In Washington, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Lately, in the last couple of updates, we're starting to see some deep convection starting to wrap around the center, which we hadn't formed up until this point. Officials in Florida keeping a close eye on Tropical Storm Bertha. It formed Monday, spinning bands of heavy rain into the panhandle.
So we're starting to see the system get a little bit better organized.
Bertha is the second named storm of the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season. It's forecast to potentially hit parts of the Gulf Coast from Florida to Texas, bringing coastal flooding, heavy rain, and high winds. Some areas already feeling the impact.
We left out around 6 a.m. It was actually nice and smooth. Then the wind started kicking up around 7:30. Then we started having a real hard pushing wind around 8.
In Florida, emergency management officials are standing by and monitoring the storm. Meanwhile, residents in parts of Mississippi are trying to mitigate the risk of getting hit with severe weather again as they continue recovering from flooding that struck back in June. Dry air and the storm's large size have kept it from strengthening into a healthy tropical cyclone. But officials warn, don't let your guard down.
We never turn our back on a system in the Gulf.
If things take a turn for the worse, be ready. If not,
always use any system like this as a walkthrough, as a rehearsal for when you actually have to activate.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
The Lower Colorado River Authority had 2 floodgates open at Mansfield Dam Monday morning before closing one. Multiple floodgates are still open at Tom Miller Dam as of Monday afternoon. Hydro generation is being used at Buchanan, Wirtz, and Starkey dams to pass floodwaters downstream. Over the weekend, Mansfield Dam opened for the first time since 2019. As of Monday morning, Lake Buchanan is 100% full, and Lake Travis is 105% full. There is a waterway ban for Austin in effect until 5 p.m. Tuesday at Lake Austin, Lady Bird Lake, and the Colorado River downstream from Longhorn Dam. Meanwhile, at a briefing in Kerrville, state leaders say they're moving from emergency response to recovery phase. But they're still not all in the clear.
Just because the skies may be clear here right now, doesn't mean that the aggregation of water that's flowing downstream has peaked. Downstream, the waters will continue to rise and continue to pose dangers for those local communities.
Tell people not to kayak in the water right now. I mean, we're using resources to rescue people that are going out there and trying to get sport on. So that needs to stop.
Abbott says the Guadalupe River crested in comfort at 38 feet on Thursday. Now it's at 5 feet. He says everyone from residents to officials were much more prepared than they were last year.
Almost all rivers in this region hit record highs. Second, they said that, and especially in Kerrville, the flooding this year was worse than the flooding last year. They said that sirens and warnings, they worked.
Did it stop the devastation? No, it did not. But were we better prepared? Yes. Thanks to not only the systems the state provided, but our local friends, UGRA, who stepped up and has provided us information on a regular basis daily.
Kerr County had the most impact on buildings, with nearly 500 homes damaged. TxDOT says floodwaters affected 52 roads that the state is responsible for. 9 are still being worked on, and communities are continuing to clean up and rebuild. Angela Shen, Fox 7 Austin News.
The conflict is driving hunger, and hunger is driving conflict, so it's a vicious circle. At the same time, what we would like to see is more structural investments, as you were mentioning, in the entire food value chain. So that means not only in production and productivity, but also in storage, in distribution, in trade. There's a lot of potential on the new Africa Continental Free Trade Area regarding also trade across food production. For that, we need to see more roads, also more storage, and more ability of accessing markets and really having same standards. That's a huge potential. If you think about Africa, as an example, they are importing currently almost 100 billion every year of food. And that has also a toll in terms of jobs and also in terms of their own currencies. So what we would like to see is actually structural investments in more local food production, more storage, more distribution, and still especially in low-income countries. Around 77% of people in low-income countries cannot afford a healthy diet, and globally 1/3. And I think that's really alarming.
That is a wrap on the 2026 World Cup that brought together the biggest field ever, with 48 different nations playing across 3 different countries. The Spanish national team bringing the World Cup trophy back to Madrid Monday, wrapping up a World Cup run for the ages to win their 2nd title. Spain turned in a dominant performance, giving up just 1 goal total throughout the entire tournament. And then in the championship, they controlled the tempo from start to finish with 12 shots on goal compared to none for Argentina. And in extra time, they only needed 1 to hit the back of the net to seal the deal. It's a goal! For Argentina legend Messi, it's likely a bittersweet goodbye to what has been a generational run, possibly ending his World Cup legacy in second place on the tournament's all-time scoring list. The games were a resounding success for the U.S., which hosted 78 matches across 11 cities. And fans from all over the world brought the excitement and traditions. And even adopting some of our own. Embracing the best of what the red, white, and blue has to offer.
America put itself in a position where the entire world was like, whoa, I didn't know this place was that great. I didn't know this place was that fun.
And if you had a lot of fun with the World Cup being in the United States, it could come back with time. The U.S. is reportedly the front runner to host the World Cup in 2038. And New York, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
Igual que ahora vamos a seguir con el repertorio de artistas que va siguiente, Saúl.
Pues sí, vamos a seguir con la música, vamos a seguir bailando, pero antes os pido una ovación. Contamos con vosotros, afición, contamos con la música, contamos con nuestras 2 estrellas.
Unos últimos temas y enseguida recibiremos aquí sobre este escenario a Alex Martini. Seguimos, Pauli.
Desde la portería.
Espectacular, espectacular. Había que venir porque estos 5 años gloriosos había que terminarlos así. Y seguramente van a seguir. Espectacular. Somos campeones, somos subcampeones, hemos ganado todo. Y la verdad, orgulloso de los muchachos, orgulloso de Scaloni, orgulloso de este grupo.
Espero que siga hasta siempre. Y Messi, gracias por todo. Toda la selección lo mismo, todo el equipo. La verdad, espero que sigamos ganando copas, ya que se nos fue una. Pero importante, la importante es la que trajeron primero. Eso que vale, le dio alegría al pueblo.
Yeah, I really needed to get gas, and as soon as I tried to start filling up my car, I looked up at the price. I'm like, oh my gosh, gas went up again by a lot. Was it almost over $1? But I have no choice. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
Nationally, the national average price of gasoline has jumped about 14 cents a gallon here compared to where it was exactly a week ago. We're on the cusp of hitting that $4 a gallon mark for gasoline. We've already hit the $5 a gallon mark for diesel again, and it probably will just be in a matter of hours that we do hit that $4 a gallon mark for gasoline, as now we're starting to see some gas prices going up in some areas of the country rather dramatically following the price of oil higher last week. I think between Ukraine's attacks on Russia's refineries in the U.S. and Iran, that is the bulk majority of what's moving gas prices in the last week or two, and probably will continue to push prices up in the next couple of weeks. We also are contending with Tropical Depression 2, though it's not a factor yet. It's a reminder of Mother Nature's impact on gas prices that we could see in August and September as hurricane season starts to find its stride. So while it is geopolitical factors primarily pushing prices up, there are other factors that could become active in the weeks ahead.
I think that putting ourselves in war and what the administration has done that has had an effect on gas prices, it is not serving the American people. Nor does it serve anywhere in the entire world. It affects everything.
you're going to be seeing more of Mickey Mouse at the grocery store. Kraft Heinz and Disney have a new multi-year partnership. The Wall Street Journal says Kraft Heinz products like mac and cheese will be sold at Disney properties, and Disney characters will be appearing on some Kraft Heinz products. Kraft Heinz hopes the deal will revive sales. The food giant signed a similar deal earlier this year with the NFL. General Motors says demand for pickups and SUVs remains strong. Its earnings for the recent quarter topped expectations and were up 30% from a year ago. GM is also raising its expectations for the year, though GM says it will continue to be impacted by tariff pressures and higher costs. And the World Cup delivered a $20 billion boost to the U.S. economy. According to Bank of America, total credit and debit card spending rose 6.3% in June during the tournament. U.S. officials hope the overwhelming success will help convince FIFA to bring the World Cup back to America as soon as possible. CJ Papa, Fox News.
You thought it was forever, but sometimes life leads you down a different path, and suddenly the future you pictured gets fuzzy.
Whether someone wants a divorce or not, there's a heavy toll because you spent X amount of years with this person.
Psychologist Shavonna Childs with Cleveland Clinic says any routine is hard to break, and that includes marriage. Experts say divorce can lead to depression, loneliness, isolation, self-esteem issues, and other psychological distress.
This is a relationship we're choosing to let go. And depending on the era that we grew up, if we're told that we stay married for life, we could also be dealing with some stigma, and that can take a mental toll on us as well.
Childs says it's okay to grieve the loss of a marriage, even when you know it's the best thing for you. She says a therapist can help and recommends getting an individual one, separate from any marriage counseling you may have tried, and have a good support system, whether that's a religious leader, positive family member, or friends. She says it's also important to be present in the moment. Journaling, grounding yourself, and being in nature can allow for that. Childs says it's also the time to figure out who you are again, but take it one day at a time and do the things that feel most genuine to you.
You have to be the most important person in your life, so you have to take care of that person first.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
As millions of Americans spend time outdoors this summer, dermatologists are bringing attention to a startling trend. Young people are ditching sunscreen, and at the same time, they're embracing tanning both indoors and out.
The younger generation doesn't seem to be fearful or maybe even aware of the risks of tanning and long-term UV radiation.
Now, skin specialists are reminding their patients about the potential risks for cancer.
Repeated and long-term exposure to the sun and to ultraviolet radiation causes skin cancer.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says ultraviolet radiation can be emitted by both natural sources like the sun and artificial ones too, like tanning beds. Also noting people should protect themselves from overexposure.
Avoid tanning, wear your sunscreen, but also get established with a dermatologist.
And the risks aren't all about health. Experts warning there are some cosmetic drawbacks too.
If you're tanning in your 20s, you will pay for it in your 40s and 50s in the presence of fine wrinkles, deep wrinkles, sunspots, age spots, and increased redness or leathery appearance of the skin.
But there are some safer ways to achieve the look without all the risks.
Self-tanners are a safe and effective way of getting a tanned and bronzed look.
And a reminder from dermatologists, although self-tanners are a good alternative to soaking up UV rays, sunscreen is still needed to protect the skin. I'm Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
It's a state of mind. It's that place where you lose yourself and you find yourself.
Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze are back in Point Break. The classic surfing heist flick returns to theaters August 16th and 19th only, remastered for its 35th anniversary, with an intro from surfing legend Matt Archbold, who helped teach the cast to surf. More info at fathomentertainment.com.
We couldn't have been in better hands.
Louis Pullman is staying busy. The actor, whose upcoming projects include Avengers Doomsday and Spaceballs the New One, has joined the Apple TV series Guilty Creek. Creatures opposite Julia Garner. It's based on a true crime book with a juicy title, Guilty Creatures, Sex, God, and Murder in Tallahassee, Florida.
Changes in latitude, changes in attitude, nothing remains quite the same.
Parrot heads, take heart. The Coral Reefer Band is keeping Jimmy Buffett's legacy alive. Longtime collaborator Mac McAnally tells Billboard a posthumous album is on the way with, for the most part, things that have never been out. The Rock and Roll Hall of Famer died in 2023 at the age of 76. No title or release date yet for the album. Wasting away again in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Tennis, elegance, aesthetic perfection. She needs our protection. An epidemic is sweeping across our once great nation, and its name is...
Pickleball, bitch!
A washed-up tennis player recovering from an injury turns reluctantly to pickleball in the Dink.
I know pickleball is sort of dorky, but it's the fastest road back to tennis for you.
Come on in here, let's bang one out!
Stars Jake Johnson and Aaron Chen credit screenwriter Sean Clements for attracting everyone from Ed Harris to Ben Stiller to Andy Roddick to the film.
Sean's writing was so good and so strong that I think everybody wanted a piece of it. Good writing is like a big steak dinner and everybody's hungry.
You know, we serve underhand.
What's that?
Underhand.
Oh, I know, obviously.
Mary Steenburgen plays Candace, a pickleballer in need of a partner.
She looks around and chooses a guy who's insulted her, who's, a washed-up tennis player who couldn't be ruder.
Oh, I get it now. It's like tennis, but easy.
You're getting ready to lose. Yeah, you little slut.
I can't believe that this is happening.
Who's the best at pickleball? I'd say probably Mary Steenburgen. She loves it the most.
I'm playing 5 days a week. I have a coach and I listen to every word he says and I try really hard not to make the same mistake over and over and over.
Bang! Ah! Just take the temperature down. Don't have to hit it that hard.
Dink! Come on!
You want a rematch?
Yes, I'd like that opportunity.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Watch an Atlanta area police pursuit go from this to this. A joint law enforcement effort to apprehend a suspect wanted on drug charges kicked off a brief chase that didn't go far. Sandy Springs police say once the suspect vehicle took off, it struck a concrete barrier, lifting its rear end up and landing on the pursuing patrol car. The suspect then tried to flee on foot, but again, didn't get far. The department said he was apprehended without further incident. Remember, no one is above the law, even if you happen to end up above the law. From above is where a surreal situation stemmed in Texas, where KTRK reports a small plane attempting to land on a nearby airstrip clearly missed its mark, instead coming to land on top of a nearby house. The pilot was reportedly treated for minor injuries. No one was reported hurt inside the home, which, amazingly enough, is located on Kitty Hawk Street. You know, Kitty Hawk, the Wright brothers. Read a book, kids. Finally, the view from the air up there can be quite fair if you've got the artistic chops to back it up. Take a look at some of the winners from the 2026 International Aerial Photographer of the Year competition. More than 1,500 entries from around the world were whittled down to winners for Best Photographer and Photograph, as well as categories like Above Water, Mountains, and Snow. It just goes to show you don't necessarily have to go far to capture breathtaking bird's-eye views. You just have to go up. More winners and finalist submissions can be viewed in the ebook at internationalaerialphotographer.com. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Which one?
音楽もファッションも僕にとってはアイデンティティなので、障害者という枠を超えてボーダレスに世界とつながれる大切なコミュニケーション方法なんです。ALS になって 誰しもが有限な時間の中で生きていることを痛いほど突きつけられたような気がしたんです。そこから今日まで一瞬一瞬の時間を無駄にしないように、今の僕に生み出せるものやアイデアを形にし続けてきました。
In summer season, the life cycle of butterflies is reduced to 15 to 20 days because of increased temperature and less humidity in environment. Whereas in control lab, we can give them proper light and humidity, whereas they can complete their life cycle that is increased or increased to 30 to 35 days. That is optimal.
We can connect the small green patches of the city to provide them the rich biodiversity. And the other very famous worldwide used method for the protection or the conservation of biodiversity is the butterfly bank. And what are the butterfly bank? They develop a domes of 2-meter height with E-shaped structure, and these domes have many different places with shady places and with sandbathing areas.
The purpose of collecting butterflies from outside and bringing them to butterfly house is to give them controlled environment, feasible environment where they can survive for long and they can live their life freely and complete their life cycle.
Firefighting drones could soon be a tool in the future for CAL FIRE to use. On Wednesday, CAL FIRE, alongside a nonprofit and a team of engineers, field tested fully autonomous drones that are being built to help firefighters.
They go out there with the backpack pumps and the brooms and the shovels, and they can put it out really fast. The Fire Innovation Unit is trying to force multiply that. Take some of the weight off their backs.
The drones fly in packs of 5. Each drone weighs around 400 pounds and are built out of carbon fiber. One can carry roughly 20 gallons of water, and when totaled with the others, that can turn into 500 to 1,000 gallons of foam when mixed with firefighting concentrate. It can also reach steep terrain that may be hard to access on foot.
More than any one situation, we want to provide them with a set of tools, be it heavy lift capability, be it fire suppression capability, be it situational awareness capability, be it autonomy and nighttime capabilities. We want to give them a full toolbox so that the professionals can do what they do best.
Stuart Landisberg is the founder of Seneca, the company that's building these drones. He says it's field tests like these that can make all the difference.
One of the things we loved learning when out there in the field is what are the firefighting techniques that folks over their decades of experience know to be the most successful, and how can we apply those to our algorithms, our autonomy software, and make those our default patterns.
And as testing continues for these drones, those at CAL FIRE say this type of research is not just for fun.
It's a demand for the state of California and for the people that live here that we have to move forward. And we're the world's largest fire department, and we need to be the leaders in technology, we feel, as well.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush. Fast-paced news updates featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True Crime Warrior Style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pro, the Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
And I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker-Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.
This is what he's going to tell you.
Trying to find the first place to put a body.
No, sir. The only thing they could do was kill him.
Be the jury and to find the defendant